Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to Avenue A, where we talk acting, networking, and the industry. I'm your host, Kelsey Bentz. For those who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. For those people who have tuned in before, welcome back. Nice to see you. Drop a comment in the comment section and say hi and say maybe where you're watching from. I'd love to know who's tuning in. Happy Friday. It's October, which is wild. I don't know where September went. I don't really know where any of the months since March went, to be honest, but it's October, so it's basically Halloween, so happy early Halloween. Let's just jump right into it. I'm really excited because today's guest is someone I've known for a while, and he's just fantastic. So his name is Dale Johannes. He's joining me on the show today. And Dale is an award-winning actor, artist, and auctioneer. He's had a long career in the performing arts, both in New York City and in Portland, where he lives now. Dale has starred in countless productions all over Portland, including most recently his PAMTA-nominated role, which is the Portland Area Musical Theater Awards, nominated role as Hedwig in Hedwig and the Angry Inch at Triangle Productions. Dale is also an esteemed auctioneer and MCs high-profile fundraising events in the greater Portland area. So I'm super excited to bring on Dale to the show. Hi, Dale.
Hey, what's up, Kelsey?
Thanks so much for joining me. It's so nice to see you.
That's great to see you. I miss everyone. I miss people.
Oh my gosh, me
general.
too.
I just miss being around people.
Yeah, now Dale killed it in Hedwig. Yes, you did kill it in Hedwig, Dale. And for those of you who don't know, Dale played Hedwig, and I played Yitzhak in that production that we did, what was it, 2 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
Dale?
Yeah.
Crazy. But that was just a blast. And we've done a couple of shows together. Hi, Grandma. That's my grandma. Thanks for tuning in. So before we jump into the interview, I just want to give everyone a little context for our time in Hedwig, I guess you could say. So I'm going to show a few pictures. This is Dale as Hedwig.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, there she is in all her glory.
Yes.
Amazing. Just soak that in. This is Dale and I. That's me on the left as Yitzhak, and then Dale on the right as Hedwig. Check out those legs. Dale,
I had to shave them all down there,
your legs are iconic.
Yep.
Truly iconic. And then, of course, this backstage, very cute, good memories. So that's a little context for everyone watching.
You know, we were actually introduced, though, when we did, and I've been thinking about this lately, I don't know why, but when we did American Idiot.
You're right.
And I think I'm thinking about American Idiot a lot because of the political climate we're in now. And if you go back and listen to that album, whether it's the Green Day album or the Broadway version, a lot of stuff that's real pertinent right now.
Yeah,
a
amen.
A lot of stuff. So I've been
and in Hedwig too, right?
Loop, man, it's just been on loop. So I'm getting into it again.
That's great. Well, it's good. It's like angsty music too. It feels like correct for the kind of mood that I'm in lately.
It was written around the Bush era, and now it totally plays in the Trump era. So
really just comes full circle.
Yeah.
Well, Despite everything that's going on in the world right now, thank you for taking the time to join me on the show. I'm really excited to talk to you because, you've had such a long and like pretty diverse career in the performing arts. You've done a lot of different things. I mean, I think you were on soap operas in the 90s in New York
Yeah.
City. Is that right?
Yeah, I did a soap, but my time in New York was interesting, right? And I look back at what young artists have today, and I moved. I didn't plan on living in New York City. It was not like, hey, I'm going to do this for a living. That was just not my thing. I was doing a show here in Portland with Bing Russell, who is Kurt Russell's father.
Oh.
And one night, Bing, because we were doing the show, it was Best Little House in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And one night, Kurt came to the show with Goldie Hawn, and they brought their agent.
Oh
I know,
God.
just bizarre, right? And Kurt and Goldie brought their agent, who saw me
Mm-hmm.
and said, hey, I'd like to talk to this kid. I was like 18, 19, 18. I was 18 years old. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he was with ICM.
Oh,
right?
shit. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even return his call. I was like, who is this guy? And then Kurt Russell called me, and he was like, dude, David wants to talk to you. And so I called David, and they flew me out to New York, and I met some people, and next thing I knew, I was living in New York City. It was not what I had planned. I literally was 18 years old and living at the Sloan House YMCA on 34th Street.
Oh my God.
Me and the rats, right? Little kid from this bubble of Beaverton, Oregon, who all of a sudden I was living in New York City. So it's a rough beginning, but
It sounds like a wild
but
ride.
after I, calmed down and relaxed a little bit and got okay with New York and being away from everything and everyone that I know,
Right.
then it started working out. But it took a while.
That's so cool. That's so fantastic.
Yeah.
So, so you have such a breadth of experience. And so I'm excited to ask you this question. Obviously, such a big part of being an actor is auditioning. And you know that. We all know that. You know that well. So I'm wondering, can you share with us one of your most memorable audition stories?
I've got two. I got two of them that I'll share.
Okay, great.
One, because when you're an actor and you're just trying to make a living, commercials is your bread and butter, right? That's where that's where you live.
Right.
And I have a couple of like crazy, like the first audition I ever went to in New York City, it was the time of Top Gun, right? And I walked in to a room for this Coca-Cola Top Gun commercial where they were going to put you in a plane and turn you upside down and whatever. And I remember walking into a room with like 97 guys that looked just like me. And I was like, oh shit. Because I was kind of a big fish here, right?
Right.
And then you move to New York City and you're like, oh my God, there's like 97 guys that look just like me, but they all have a resume and they're all really talented. So it was a wake-up call. It was a big wake-up call. Like, wow, I got to, and they were all like buff too. So that's when I was like, I got to hit the gym now, right? So that's my thing. Like, I got to get into the gym, and that was a little bit of a wake-up call. But one audition, and this is one of those, you got to keep your dignity moments, right? So I was auditioning for a bubble gum commercial. It was for a product called Bubblicious. You checker Bubblicious, right? And the idea was you come in and they hand you a piece of gum and you start chewing this and you start blowing bubbles and you put on these sunglasses and they were going to make you fly and do all this stuff. So I started chewing this gum and it was oh my God, it was the worst thing I've ever tasted. And I'm trying to blow a bubble and the spit is just running down me. And finally, it was one of those dignity moments where I just took it out of my mouth after I was like, this shit is awful. And I just walked out of there, right? So it was like one of those, I just can't do it.
Oh my God.
And then the other fun, I'm getting off screen there. There we go. The other fun moment I had was back when I was acting, music videos were a thing, right? Now we don't have music videos really anymore. But I remember going to I got a last minute call. Oh, they need a guy to be opposite Debbie Gibson in a music video shoot. I was like, cool,
oh my gosh.
right? So I go down. There's only 3 of us at the audition. I'm like, oh, hey, damn, my chances are pretty good because it shoots the next day. And I remember this particularly because I came out of there and I looked at the guy after I had gone in and met Deborah, by the way, not Debbie.
Deborah.
I came out and I looked at the guy who was waiting and I go, well, I'm not going to get this. I thought she was the one that sang in the malls. That was Tiffany, right? So it was real clear after I said, hey, yes, oh no, I know who you are, Deborah Gibson. You sing in the malls. And it was like, that's Tiffany. So yeah, you're
Oh
home.
my God.
Didn't get that one.
Oh my God. That is so good. That's
Deborah
so
Gibson,
good.
not Debbie.
Deborah.
Deborah. She immediately corrected me on that one. It's
Oh
Deborah.
my gosh.
So yeah. But
That's so good.
when you're around enough, you're gonna audition for crazy stuff, right? Just
Yeah.
I mean, I did a one commercial where I sat on a curb and I watched oranges roll by. I got paid a lot for that. I just sat on a curb and watched oranges roll by and looked up at the camera, and that was it. So
And you're like, what's happening? But the paycheck's rolling in. So
it's all about working, man. It's all about working. And when you're in New York
Yeah.
City and you're trying to pay the rent and you're doing all that, hey, it's just about, working.
Amen. Amen.
Yep.
So that sort of anecdote that you shared about how you walked in and there was like 95 other guys that looked exactly like you. Like that's, I've heard that so many times and it's so relatable, and I've experienced it myself where you just walk in and you're like, I didn't even know that there were so many me's in the world, but here they all are in one room.
And they're all really talented. Like, what the hell? Yeah.
So how have you maintained your own individuality in an industry that sometimes seems to reward sameness?
I think that's a great question, by the way.
Thanks.
And I won't give you like a really deep Alice Ripley like response because she's much deeper than me. But I think a little bit of that comes with maturity. I think a little bit of that comes with enduring the time, right? You put in your time. Everybody will find their niche. I really truly believe that. I found it as an auctioneer. I didn't know where my niche was going to be, and you will find your niche, and you have to kind of embrace that, right? So whether you're a character actor, because you know how it works with theater, right? It's like, oh, leading man. Well, I'm too short to be a leading man. I'm too tall to be a leading girl. Blah, blah, blah. You look at that breakdown and you go, where do I fit in here? Just go work. Don't worry about trying to be an individual or doing all this at first. Just go work. I mean, that's my message to every young actor is just get out there and do the work, because I don't want to take another chorus position. Well, it's not about that. It's about the connection with people and the networking, right? Because as you know, you'll go in for something and you'll think, oh yeah, I got this. I'm going to play Lori in Oklahoma. But they're not seeing you as Lori, right? So they're seeing you as an 808 Andy, or they're seeing you as whatever else. Just go in and kick ass with that audition, do your best, and who knows where they'll place you. That's how I got a soap opera. There's a great audition story, right? I went in and I read for this role, and because I was so wrong for this role. It was like a strapping cattle farmer, I'm like, 5'9", I weigh 150, right? So I walked in, I was like, look, I'm wrong for this. I know I'm wrong for this. Just let me read. And they were like, oh, okay. They kind of laughed about it, and they were like, yeah, you're really wrong, but we'll let you read. And so I read, and lo and behold, like 5 months later, I got a call. And they were like, yeah, you remember you came in and you read for that and you were really wrong for that, but we have a role now for you. And so you just never know. And the more I read about different shows that I'm watching, because there's so much content out there to absorb now.
Oh
my wife and I just got into The Walking Dead. I don't know why, but I don't know where that we've been, but we're into that now, right? And I'm looking, and I was reading the bio of one of the actors, and I was like, well, he originally auditioned for the lead role, which he was wrong for, but he was so good that they wrote him a part, and now he's a principal. So, so that's just it. Just go in and do the best you possibly can, and let them figure out how they're going to use you, or just make your mark where you are so damn good that they can't not use you. And just don't worry about your individuality. One of my best friends is Brooks Shasmanskis, who's been on Broadway, 20 shows now, and he's been nominated for he was just in Prom. I don't know if you saw it or not on Broadway.
I did. Yes, I did see it. It was fantastic. Prom, right? Oh my God. Tony
nomination and everything. But look at Brooks. Definitely not leading man type, right? One of the funniest men I've ever met in my life. Can sing and dance his ass off. But he's always playing the little character roles. And he's embraced that. And he has worked. I mean, he's just constantly working. And so that's why I say just embrace that.
I think that's such good advice, and it's such an important reminder too, because something that I will sometimes do, you were kind of talking about this, but it's like you see a breakdown or you see an audition and they're calling in people and you're like, well, I see myself for this role, so I'm going to sort of maybe dress a little more like what I think they might
Yep.
dress and like make myself seem like I can fit that role
Yeah.
instead of just going in as, you and
And
just
right.
reading the
And just
role.
having that confidence, and that's the thing. There's a fine line between confidence and cocky, right? But if you
Yeah.
go in there like and you just kick ass and you make the point that you guys got to hire me because I'm good,
Yeah.
right? They'll figure it out. They'll find a way, whether it's this project or whether it's something down the road, but you'll
Yeah.
make your mark,
I
and I
mean,
think that's just really important.
the fact that they called you 5 months later, I mean, I bet that you were just like, it didn't work out.
It
You'd
did.
probably
Well, I
long
knew I wasn't
forgot
going to
about
get that
it.
role, right? I was like, I'm so wrong for this, right? But if you
Right.
make your mark and they remember you, and all of a sudden a role comes by and they go, it was a role of like Billy the Kid. They just called it the Kid, right? So it was more like for me.
Yeah.
And all they did was call me and say, "Can you ride a horse?" And I was like, "Of course I can ride a horse." You can't ride a horse, right? Which
I bet you
once I got
learned
up
real
on the horse, and
quick.
I was like, "Oh my god, it's really high up here." And they were like, "You don't ride horses, dude." And I'm like, "It's too late. You already cast me." But
It's too late now.
it's too late now, right? But
That's
if you
funny.
just go in and you do the best you can, then people remember you, whether it's for this project or for a different project.
I think that that's such sage advice. And it's honestly easy to forget, because I
Totally.
think auditioning is so hard in the first place. And so even if you see a call for something and you're like, I don't know if I'm right for that role, sometimes I just won't go in for it,
Go.
But it's like, you should.
Go. I
Yeah,
mean, and I think a lot of that is it's on. We do that to ourselves.
I think
Oh,
so.
or you read the breakdown. You're like, oh, I really want this role. I would kick ass as this role, right? And you
Yeah,
get that in your mind. And I think you just have to just go in and audition for the show. Don't go audition for what you think you fit in well with. I mean,
that's
sometimes
so
vocally, if it's a
true.
musical, right, you're like, oh, I can sing the crap out of this role, right? So maybe
Right,
that's it, right?
right.
But for the most part, just go in and just show up and do the best you can, and they'll figure it out. If you make a case for yourself, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, true that. Dale, I want to talk a little bit about your auctioneering and emceeing part of your career. I think that's so fascinating and it's such an awesome niche, like you were talking about. Can you talk a little
Yeah.
bit about how you got into that in the first place?
Yeah, I started doing, as actors, we are doing like MC roles, right? So
Yeah.
I started doing MCing for a couple of, I've worked in the field of HIV and AIDS for a very, very long time. And so I was doing MC roles for a couple of like AIDS service organizations. And that started like 19 years ago. You're greeting people, you're keeping people
Wow.
entertained, and you're welcoming people, and you're talking about the mission and things like that. So I was doing an event up in Seattle. I don't remember what the event was, quite honestly. And the auctioneer didn't show up, like missed his flight or, whatever it was, but he didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, well, guess I'm your auctioneer tonight, and I had been paying enough attention to with all the auctioneers that I'd worked with. I'd been paying good attention that I was like, I think I can do this, right? And you always have a goal every time you're doing an event, a fundraiser for a nonprofit. And
Right.
that night in Seattle, we went over goal by $80,000. We blew it
Stop
out,
it.
right?
With
And then
you
all of a
as
sudden
the
I had all
auctioneer.
these, I had all these people asking me afterwards, like, oh, can you be my auctioneer?
Yes.
And I went, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not really trained, and I take it very seriously. Like fundraising for these nonprofits is very, very, very important. This money
Right.
is essential to these nonprofits.
Right.
So what I did was I thought about it for a while, and then I went to an auctioneer in town, and I said, hey, will you train me? If you'll train me, I'll be your backup on nights where you get double booked. I'll go out. And so that's how it started. And then I quickly went from doing 5 events to 35, 40 events. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's an honor to be raising money for these incredible nonprofits. To people that are doing amazing work, especially now during with this health crisis, people have had to reinvent themselves, and these nonprofits, they're having a hard time right now.
Yeah.
And so it's just a privilege to do. In fact, I have a great passion for it now, and I think I get better with every single one I've done. But in this time, I've had to reinvent myself. So I'm doing virtual auctions.
Wow.
And I think I have 12 of them this month, right? So
Get out. That's so
it's a
cool.
lot. and it's different, but we've all got to figure it out during this time.
That's right.
And I can't be in a room with 1,000 people, trying to get them motivated to support these organizations, but you can definitely, be in front of a camera, talk about the mission, share stories about why it's important during this time to support these nonprofits. And
Yeah.
it's been a really great, it's been great. So yeah,
What's been
keep
the
busy.
biggest challenge for you, like switching to virtual, like event emceeing and auctioneering versus in person?
It's so different.
Right.
And I'm the kind of person that I don't like to be scripted much. I like to get up on stage and go and see,
Yeah.
whatever it's very much like theater, right? Like whatever the audience gives you, you
Right.
go with it, right?
Right.
And you're playful and you keep it fun and you keep it energetic and you keep it entertaining. And this is there's a camera and you're talking to the camera and you're
I
getting
know.
nothing, right?
Literally
And
nothing.
so live events would be, 2 hours, and I've got like 45 minutes to get in there,
Mm.
ask for money, ask for money, ask for money, share a couple stories and get the hell out, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit different and it's so much more scripted that I
Mm.
don't like that part because I don't like to be so scripted.
Right.
But then again, I get to use some of my camera experience from my acting days, right? So
Yeah.
this is really a part where I'm bridging the gap between some of my on-camera experience and the fundraising experience. So it's been really good. It's been a great way to kind of push me forward and try something new.
That's so great. I mean, that's what it's all about right now as artists. We don't have any other choice but to sort of like roll with the
Yeah.
punches.
You got to reinvent yourself. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. I watched your interview with Alice Ripley, which was brilliant, by the way. And she's
Thanks.
deep. She's
Oh
fantastic.
my
And
God.
but I thought as I was watching that, I thought, well, Kelsey's really good at this. Like you're really good at this. Would you have done this? Would you have found out about this without the pandemic?
Probably
No,
not.
you
Probably
probably wouldn't have
not.
explored this, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to you for finding your way, finding something that you can do, that you can express yourself, that actually is pertinent in this time where we're all like yearning for connection, right? During
Right.
this
Yeah.
time. And everybody out there has got to find their thing. Now, if you're a songwriter or you write plays, come on, now's a great time for you, right? The best time to write songs is after a breakup, right?
Right.
Or when
Right.
stuff like this is going on in the world where you've got like an administration that is shoving stuff down our throat. So this is a
Right.
great time for you.
Right.
But for actors who are used to doing stuff in front of an audience,
Yeah.
man, it's rough.
It is
And it's
rough.
not just us. So I really want to make everyone aware that the entertainment industry on a whole is being devastated right now. And just think outside of the actors. Think of all the people, all
Yeah.
the stage workers, and all the crew members that load in, that load out, that do the lighting. That when the health crisis happened, and it was like second week in March. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember, but Frozen was playing here at the Keller,
Oh, I
and
actually didn't know that.
they walked away from it. Guess what set is still at the Keller? The Frozen
No.
set is sitting there because they walked away. Costumes, props, they're all down there.
Mm.
And then when you think about, okay, all those people who work backstage, all the lighting folks, all that,
Yeah.
man, it's a tough time right now. So if you
Mm.
can, support those organizations. I did a televised event called Together for Oregon.
Mm.
And you can go to the website. It's just Together, the number 4, Oregon. And
Nice.
it was for gig workers. It was for supporting, your live event people, the outdoor
Yeah.
concerts, and even the auctions that I do had a lot of live event staff.
Yeah.
Those are all gone,
Yeah.
all of them. And so, if you can really support that industry, because I can't imagine, I can't think of another industry that's been hit as hard. Maybe even the restaurants, they're at least to go and doing like to go food and stuff, right? But
Right. There's a
nobody's
certain
working.
level of functionality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody's working in a live event.
I
It's
know,
tough.
and it's devastating. It really
It's
is. I
and and,
mean,
and and we don't really see an end in sight. I have
that's
friends in New
right.
York that are in Broadway shows, and I'm reaching out like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I mean, like
Yeah.
at first it was, "Oh, it's going to be a month," and now it's like, "Well, we're probably
Right.
not going to open until April," and it's like, "Oh, it's just." Now Broadway shows are fine; they got insurance, right? So they're covered
Yeah.
for that. But it's the
Yeah.
performers and it's the backstage folks, and it's tough.
Right. And the off Broadway and
It's
all of that.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. And all we can do is just like try our best to persevere.
Yeah.
I guess,
And
you know, like,
we will. Well, I mean, we are going to get to the other side of this, and we're going to be stronger and better. But what we
yeah.
thought was, and I don't know about you, but I thought, oh, this will be a fun 2 weeks, right? This will be fun.
Dale, I literally packed my bag in New York City because I was like, I have to get the hell out of here to come here. And I packed for 2 weeks and I've
Yeah,
been here for 7 months.
yeah. That's what we all thought. This will be a fun two
Yeah,
weeks, right? So
exactly.
I remember it went sideways like March 12th, I think was the date when everything
Yep, that was
was
the
like, oh,
day.
I had an auction that night, March 12th, and
No
they
way.
called it that morning. They said, nope, no auction that morning. And then I thought, oh, yeah, we could have probably done it, right? You know, whatever. But then nothing. I mean,
Yeah,
zip.
just
So
obliterated.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough.
So, speaking of, that devastation, there's a lot of people who, like myself, who are just coming out into the real world with these arts degrees, like right when the arts industry is sort of like in
Yeah,
this weird, fun place. So,
yeah.
what piece of advice would you give to a smart, driven arts student who is, graduating into this current moment?
Yeah. One would be now is the time to learn a skill, learn, to develop something. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe you need to learn how to tap dance. It's a great time now. Get those tap shoes and, get out in your garage
true
and do it.
that. Yeah.
Um, it's just, there's nothing you can do right now. So don't beat yourself up because here's the beauty. We're all in the same boat, right? We are
True.
all, that's why I think everybody has to be a little kinder to each other right now because we're all dealing with the same stuff, right?
That's
So
right.
give each other a break, be kind to each other, and we will get through this. But my advice always is, and I said this earlier, when we start opening up, when we get back to working, don't be so choosy as to I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't want to be in the chorus. Just work. Because as an actor, everything you do is networking. Everything. So, oh, I don't want to be in the chorus, but you know what? You do that show and you meet the choreographer who might be doing a great show on Broadway in 3 months, and he's like, oh, damn, Kelsey, she was a chorus, she could be perfect. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a freaking Muppet, right? So do whatever you can to just work.
That's how you got your card, right?
Yeah.
Going on tours. That's amazing.
Just do whatever you can. It's about
Yeah.
the connection and it's about the networking. And don't
Yeah.
get caught up in, well, I can't do that. I'm with the Muppets dancing around in carpeting, or don't worry about that. Just get out there and work and meet the people, and you'll, before you know it, you're going to have this network of people, and they're all going to be thinking of you, and you're going to be thinking of them, and that's how this all comes together.
That's right. That's how this all comes together.
And that's how your career gets started. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of theater, right? Is like
It
you
is.
meet someone and then through them you meet someone else, and it really is like this spider web of like networking. And I know that a lot of people talk about like, oh, theater is all just like who you know, and it can be sort of a negative connotation. But at the same time, I think it's sort of beautiful that
Yeah.
like we're all looking out for each other,
Yep. And
Yeah.
somebody told me once, and this sat with me for a little bit. It was like, with theater, we have these intense, transient friendships, right? You
Right.
do a show with somebody, and you have this intense relationship with them for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, 5 months, and then the show closes, and you move
Yeah.
on, and you might not see that person or communicate with that person for a couple of years, but you had this intense relationship. So when you see them, it picks right back up where it left off. And it's weird because my wife's like, you don't have a lot of really close friends. And I don't have a lot of I do theater to connect, and it's this intense, and that fulfills me.
Yeah.
And then you go away and you don't see those people. Maybe I send them a text, or, I see them on Facebook or whatever, but I
Right.
don't, but if I was to pick it up tomorrow, if I was to do a show with you and Dave, or if I was to go see Leif or Joe Tyson or one of these other people, it would pick up right where it left off, and it would just feel like we never missed a beat.
Right.
And that's
That's
the
right.
beauty of doing, theater, and you just have these really intense, relationships for a short amount of time.
You do. You really get to know people like in a very specific
Yep.
context, which is it's a very interesting thing, and you get so attached, and then all of a sudden 2 months goes by or however long your run is, and then it's
Yep.
just like, okay, we're never going to see each other
And
again.
it's that closing night. That's why it's funny, because I saw something on Facebook not too long ago with Mandy Patinkin talking about his experience with Princess Bride. and how intense it was. And when they finally said cut and he knew they were not going to do it anymore, you got to look this up. He starts tearing up talking about it, thinking that's the worst thing I want to hear, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do those sword fights, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to have those relationships anymore. That's what we experience on closing night.
It is.
It's this celebration, but it also hurts you in your gut.
It's a loss.
It's done. It's over. And but we're so used to it because that's what we do, right?
It is. And on to the next, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or on to nothing because there's COVID.
Right. On to just staring at the wall.
And we're all Zoom fatigued now.
We sure are, but we are getting good at it. I have to say that. I mean, I've never been so competent with technology as I am right now.
Everybody's being forced to.
Cool.
You got to look at the positives of this, right? Yeah. And it's funny because my wife pointed out, my wife works in mental health, and she said, you know who's thriving right now? People that are introverts, people that didn't like being around crowds, and people that didn't like being forced into social situations that they weren't comfortable. They are thriving right now. Yeah. This is their jam, right? Because I always think about, I miss people, and I'm going to give them these long, awkward hugs when I see them. But you think about the people that are thriving right now. So there's a lot of people that this is great for them.
That's true. Yeah. It's good to look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Well, Dale, thank you so much for being on the show. It was such an honor to have you on and have you share your perspective with us, because you really, you have such a positive, optimistic, move forward type of perspective, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for sharing it.
Nowhere to go but forward, that's
Amen.
And a little bit of that, I think, comes with age. I think I get to a certain, you get to a certain age, and you're like I'm the old Hedwig, right? And I'm like, oh God, there's I remember I met John Cameron Mitchell, by the way. I met him at a fundraising event, right?
Oh my God.
He was there speaking, and then he came backstage and he was talking to me, and I said, by the way, I just played Hedwig. And he's like, what? And he grabbed me, and we went and had a drink. And his question to me was, so tell me what it was like being an old Hedwig. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I go, how old are you? He's the same age as me, right? So he said, actually, it's funny, because he goes, actually, that role's written for somebody that's our age. And I was like, yeah, he followed the dialogue, exactly. Yeah. And he goes, could you do it again? And I said, I don't know, because it physically, it beat me up. And he said to me, I couldn't do it again. Yeah. I couldn't do it again. He goes, you get to a certain age. But it was so funny how he was like, he literally grabbed me. He goes, you're coming to the bar. And he went and bought me a drink. And we talked. And his first question was, so tell me what it was like being an old Hedwig. And I was like, well, thank you for that. Thank you.
First of all, thanks.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And you're also an old Hedwig. So there you go.
Wow. That's an amazing story. I love him.
It was, and you know what? Super sweet. And I said, can we take a selfie? And I took it, and he goes, that selfie sucks. This is the director and me. I have to redo it. So he made me go into better lighting and, and do all this stuff. But he was such a sweet guy and soft spoken. And I could have, I just said, hey, thank you. I did Hedwig, a year ago. I saw him at the Human Rights Campaign. I was doing the Auctioneer at the HRC campaign, and he was getting an award that night. And he literally came backstage, and he goes, hey, you were really good up there. And I said, thank you very much. I said, I got to play Hedwig a year ago. And he just, from there, he just grabbed me by the collar, and he had questions for me instead of me saying, I had a million questions for him, right? But he was so sweet and just wanted to know my experience about being an old Hedwig, because he I think he's around my age. So it was interesting. It was great.
Yeah, that's so fantastic.
He's kind of a hero. So that was kind of
cool. He is. He's an icon. Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing that story.
Oh, you bet.
Well, Dale, that comes to the end of our interview. It flies by so fast.
Ooh.
But thank you for joining me. It was so lovely to see you. I felt like this was a little reunion, which was so nice. And
yeah, maybe we're actually going to be able to share the stage again. And for people out there who have never seen Kelsey on stage, though, I do have to say, you come across performers every once in a while, and we all do this, and it's probably not good that she's a singer that acts, she's a bit, whatever. But I worked with you in American Idiot, and I was like, oh man, girl can sing. But I'll tell you what, you're an actor that sings. Aww. And am I right? When you went to NYU, you didn't major in musical theater, did you?
I didn't. No,
See?
I majored in acting. Yeah.
Because, and that will take you places. Because yes, you can sing. We all know that. You rock it out, whatever. But you can act. And that is something that was very evident when we did Hedwig. And I was like, because, I was worried about like the age difference and that,
Right.
none of that. You acted your ass off in that show. And
Thank you.
for people who haven't had a chance to see you perform live, hey, maybe we do Hedwig again. Maybe they can come back and see that.
Maybe we do.
That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna manifest that. Thank you for those words, Dale. That really means a lot to me. I can't tell you. It's so nice of you to say that. Thank you.
Oh, you betcha.
And I'm praying for the day that we get to perform together again too.
I would love it.
For those who are watching who wants to find Dale, you can find him on Facebook just under his name, Dale Johannes, and follow what he's up to. Send him a little friend request. Yeah, thanks again, Dale, and enjoy your weekend.
You bet. Just be safe and be well and take care of yourself.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, that concludes another episode. This is episode 19. Next week is going to be episode 20, which is insane. That means I've been doing this for 20 weeks. Where has the time gone? Who knows? I don't know. But thank you so much for tuning in. I see we have some comments here. Michelle, you both are rock stars. Thank you so much, Michelle, for tuning in. Dana, hi, Dana. Dana is my sister. She's also my producer. She's backstage every week, not getting any of the glory. So I'm going to give her a little bit of glory right now because she's the best. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. And we'll see you next week with another episode. Take care.